Hi, I'm the Global Runner and I'm planning to get under 2:30 in the Montreal Marathon, aged 50. We are 1 week from race day and this week was all about the taper. So for me, the purpose of the taper is all about confidence. I want to be rested, but I want to still hit some decent sessions which improve my confidence. So Thursday, September the 5th, I hit 15 by 1 minute. I didn't want to worry about the distance. I just wanted to focus on feeling good. And then I did a 10K race on Sunday, which you will have seen in my last video. After that, I took things quite easy. Tuesday was 10 by a minute. Again, I don't want to push it too far, don't want to push it too fast, but I did want to feel good and feel like my legs were moving and operating quite well. Thursday, I did 3 by 2K at sort of 10K pace, so a decent session, got me working hard, but didn't exhaust me. So I felt good after that. I felt energized, I felt confident, but I wasn't crushed by the session. And I think that is part of what the taper is all about. And then really the only other big session during this training block was Sunday, which was 10 miles with the last 4 fast, although compared to some of the sessions I've been doing recently, that was also a much easier session and one which I was hoping would give me a lot of confidence. So just looking at those in a bit more detail, Saturday was a 45-minute easy trail run around Canmore, soaking in some of the weather and some of the views. Sunday was a 10K race, which I did in 34.5 minutes, and I did a whole video on that, so feel free to check that out. Monday, the wildfires came back a bit to Calgary, and so the air was a bit smoky, so I ended up running 60 minutes easy on the treadmill. Tuesday was my session of 10 by 1 minute, so I warmed up and then I did 1 minute hard and then 1 minute super slow jog. And I've got to give a shout out to one of the people who commented in the last video that I did, called Faith, and she pointed out that I could use my Garmin watch and my Insta360 camera and sync up this data that you see on the screen. So this is fantastic. You can see heart rate, you can see distance, you can see pace, you can see even the course map. So this is amazing, and I'm hoping to use this in the Montreal Marathon. So thank you for that, Faith. Wednesday was just a recovery jog, and then Thursday was going to be a semi-decent session of 3 by 2K at 10K pace, so maybe 3.5 minutes per kilometre or about 5.5 minutes per mile. But as you can see, it was blowing a gale and it was almost monsoon weather outside. So again, I had to resign to the treadmill. I'm not too worried about that. It meant it was nice and controlled, and I wasn't too concerned because I've done a lot of training outside. It would have been nice to do it outside, but the treadmill is a good alternative. Friday was 30 minutes easy on the static bike, and then Saturday was a nice, easy 30-minute jog around Canmore, which set me up nicely for the slightly more difficult session of the week, which was on Sunday. This is bear poo, which means there was a bear here quite recently. I didn't bring my bear spray. Bad boy. Okay, we are a week from go time. This is 7 days before the Montreal Marathon, and we are in Banff, and it is definitely autumn. There is a serious chill in the air. But today we're doing 10 miles, 16K, with the last 4 miles fast, so the last 6K fast. Haven't worked out what fast is, just want to run by feel, want to feel good. And we're using the opportunity to try out the race gear one last time. So we've got the shorts I'm going to be wearing. I'm going to change into my race shoes in a minute. I've got the race socks, and I've also got one of the gels that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using the Morton, but hopefully as well these Never Second gels, which I've tried a couple of times already, feel quite good. I'm going to give the caffeine one a go today just to check that's good. And then that will be everything ready. And we are really bumping up against this marathon. I watched the Sydney Marathon yesterday, which really got me in the mood. It was the age group marathon, and that was one that I was going to do. And my nephew did it on literally zero training and ran 4.5 hours. So I'm super proud of him. His girlfriend did it as well and did 5 hours 20. So they are both going to be sore today. But it really got me in the mood. Like, I'm really excited now for next week's marathon. So after the 6 mile or 10k warm up, the meat of this session was 4 miles or just over 6k fast. And I didn't really know what fast was going to be. So I was hoping to get around sort of anywhere in the 5:30s a mile. And as you can see, I recorded all 22 minutes of it, but we're going to speed along to the relevant bits. But you can see here that I set off at a decent pace, which luckily felt comfortable, and so I just tried to settle in. So my heart rate was decently low at the start here, and then when I came through the first mile, which was in 5:28, it just started to pick up again at that point, and so I was quite happy with the way the heart rate started, nice and low and nice and relaxed. Coming up to the 2k mark, I was still holding a decent pace, and the advantage of these shorter sessions is that I was already a third of the way through, and I was hanging on to a nice low heart rate still, so things were looking pretty good at this point. When I hit the 2 mile mark, I was quite surprised that the second mile was 5:37. I just sort of settled into a pace. I wasn't checking to see if I was still on pace while I was running, and so I think I sort of slowed down just a little bit and imperceptibly. So once I'd hit the 2 mile mark and I got my 5:37 split, I decided that I'd need to pick it up again. I knew I was over halfway at this point, and I knew I was almost going to be done, and so I wanted to pick it up and really bring it home strong. So the third mile was more along the lines of what I was looking for. That was back to 5:31 pace, which is about 3:25 a kilometre. And I was happy to see that, and I was feeling strong and was pushing it a bit harder now, but still feeling strong. I went through 5k in about 17 minutes. It's difficult here because there's no timer on the screens, so that you can't tell from the stats exactly what I went through 5k in. So maybe Faith can tell me how to sort that out, or maybe Garmin needs to fix that. But yeah, felt great going through 5k, and I knew I had less than a mile to go. So I was concentrating on being smooth, being in control, but also being fast. With just over a kilometre to go, there was a nasty little hill, but they knew it was short, and they knew once I was over the top, there would be a gentle downhill to the finish. So I threw myself up this hill and made sure that I didn't lose any pace going up it. So coming up to the end of the last mile here, the 4th mile, and we were over 6 kilometres, and I was determined to finish this fast. A little bit downhill this bit as well, so I was going to make sure that I was going to make the most out of that. I even dipped down to, I think, about 3:14 a kilometre, it says at this point here. And so I was happy with that, happy with how it finished, and overall really happy with how I felt. I felt in control. I worked hard, obviously, but I felt in control and felt great at pace, so I was really encouraged by that. Felt good. Really good to move the legs. You know, you're always worried that you're detrained after a couple of days easy, but really good to move the legs, feel good, pump the tires, and get ready for next week. So this time next week, it'll all be over. So please subscribe. We're nearly at 4,000. Let's see if we can get there. And don't forget to mash the like button, and I'll see you very, very soon.